see we're going to rotate a little bit and strafe a bit so we can make sure that this is not After Effects. I promise you my company's not creative enough to use After Effects. But, so there we have it. So no matter where you're going, you have the iPad and you can cycle through the steps. And the thing is, some of this stuff may be commonplace. You may think like, well, my air conditioner repairman really not know like how to remove the inverter assembly or like unscrew the fan. The thing is, how many air conditioners are there in the world, and how many different types of air conditioners are there in the world? These guys that come in there, they have no idea what they're walking into. And what they have right now is a product catalog that's the size of like 6 New York phone books stacked on top of each other. They have to cycle through that have sometimes more than 1 million products in them. And you have to figure out, the date of manufacture. You have to figure out the serial ID number. There's a way to skip that and use products as the actual information hub. Then you're talking about streamlining productivity, information sharing, all sorts of stuff. So speaking of productivity and streamlining, this is actually, you can go ahead and start the video. So this is Vuzix, well, they mentioned earlier in Eric's presentation. They're sort of working on this concept with SAP currently, where you're a person in a warehouse. You get into the warehouse, and it starts pushing your inventory to you. This is a concept video, by the way. This is not, don't worry. This is not, don't worry, Eric. This isn't, so this actually, in their concept, actually runs on a piece of our software as well. So you're driving around in your forklift, and you see it's pushing you, it's telling you need 2 headphones, 1 netbook, 1 TV, and as soon as you get there, you scan the object with the wearable headset, and it automatically pushes it to your checklist and tells you, okay, that's done, next, here's the next step. So I mean, this is not dissimilar to their existing workflow, but usually it's like a clipboard and like different like carbon copy sheets and like all sorts of stuff. This is so much more straightforward.
Yeah, carbon copies.
You scan the barcode, it pushes to your system, you move on to the next thing. And they call this the picking app, because that's what you're just picking different items, serving it, and eventually you're just going to put it over to the truck. You're going to be done. And this is like, this is not a very huge technological learning curve, right? It's literally point and shoot. You really have to do very little activity other than what you're already doing. So you don't have to teach someone how to use like an iOS or a custom enterprise interface. It's just you put the glasses on and you look at things. And there's of course a maintenance thing as well for the forklift, which I thought was funny. So here you go. You have, oops, skip that. So this is, I thought, was a very cool thing because we've done this experiment with this too, but remote camera sharing. So you're basically taking the real-time camera so that the person on the other side can update it while you're looking at it. If you think about it, you're on the phone with Comcast or whatever god-awful cable company, and the conversation is always the same. Are you looking at your router or your modem? Like, well, you tell me. Of course, we all know the difference, right? But the average person is like, I have no idea what that means, person on the phone. And then, they say, well, does it look like this? Does it look like this? Is it plugged in? Do you have a yellow wire? None of these wires are yellow. They're all blue. I don't understand. Imagine if you could just say, you know what? Upload the Comcast app, press the camera share button, and just point it at your device. And they do. It's like, sorry, you're actually pointing at your laptop computer. Oh, okay. It's like that kind of thing. Like, please just insert this wire here, insert this wire here, and you're good. And that's the kind of thing that it's hard for me to imagine why it's not already, why these companies aren't already interested in doing that, because I think it really can improve productivity. And if you think, once again, hands-free, that's even better. You're wearing your hands-free headset in your home, you basically dial up these guys, and they can you can share it right there to them. And that's actually, the Google version of FaceTime basically makes no sense right now, right? Because you're wearing glasses, and you're sharing your screen, and they're just looking at whatever you're seeing. I don't know if anyone's tried that yet, but it's very weird. Because if you're on the other side of it, it's like you're in their head. It's like being John Malkovich, but Google Glass Edition or something. For communication, it doesn't really make sense unless you have something in front of you that you need the other person to see, and that's where the support thing comes in. This is an Epson partner, Meta. They recently, you can play this. The video's odd, but what they basically did is they took an Epson, basically duct taped a depth camera on top of it, and they have a wearable device. But they're really interested in the idea of gesture interaction, like the sort of Minority Report interfaces. You're tracking your fingertips, able to cycle through information that's projected in front of you. So it's very cool, and it's already in use. They have a lot of very interesting demos already, and it's someone that's attracts a lot of attention. They have a lot of capital behind them. They even have Steve Mann, who is like one of the pioneers of wearable computing, as one of their technical advisors. So it's very cool. Demo looks nothing like that. No, it's actually, I tried it out when I met these guys in CES, and it was very impressive. They're very passionate people, and it's very cool that we have this edge, because Metaio, and I think Vuzix, and Google Glass all have sort of different objectives. And for Meta, what they want to do is actually take information, project it in front of you, and make it experiential. What we want to do is allow the user to access information from nearly any point. The experiential part is sort of a bonus. And Glass, of course, wants to make wearable computing ubiquitous. So it's nice to have someone involved in the real, the cool Minority Report stuff.
I'd be surprised if it hasn't been done already.
This is actually a quick video of, we finally, I guess, sort of hacked Google Glass. We basically like bootstrapped our SDK to it and figured out a way to kind of like do augmented reality. It's really small. If you look like right here, there's a 3D model on top of this image. And this video kind of illustrates a lot of issues with Google Glass already. Because you can tell the field of view is just really, really tiny. And it does have its uses, but for this kind of like immersive augmented reality that I think Metaio wants to achieve, that Epson wants to achieve, that Meta wants to achieve, it's really not enough view. And it's actually, when you're using it, it's not terribly disorienting, but it's just kind of weird because it's so small. It's just very small, which I think is a limiting factor to it. But it does work on it. We can get it to work, but it's just interesting. We actually, I think Brian will have a couple demos of that if you actually want to see it in action and wear it. So this is a very interesting article that I came across in April, right around the time of the Augmented World Expo, formerly ARE. So I met this analyst at one of the events that we had. Her name is Sarah Rothman-Epps, and talked to her a long time about wearable computing. She came out with this report that says that, she works for Forrester, a prominent research company, that says that Google Glass will be the next iPhone. I call shenanigans on that, but she's still a very intelligent person. I respect her opinion, but I think it's broader than that. I think what the iPhone did for the smartphone ecosystem was propel it to the forefront to basically, allow for a whole, kingdom of smartphones. There's Androids. There's now Windows phones. Most of those things probably wouldn't have been propelled as fast without the iPhone to really bring it to the public's attention. So I think the headline really should be Google Glass could turn could basically propel the wearable computing market into the same level as smartphones. So it's really wearable computing is the next smartphone, not necessarily Google Glass could be the next iPhone. But it's important because, go back to how many millions of views that got, to all the media, Diane von Furstenberg wearing Google Glass at a fashion show. Actually, my colleague, I don't know if any of you have ever run into him, Brendan Scully, was recently in Minneapolis for business. I should have really included the photo. I might have to pull up the photo for you guys anyway. He went to a Kesha concert. I don't know if you guys know who Kesha is. She is a young pop star. Managed to get a backstage pass and was walking around fairly inebriated, wearing his Google Glass prototype, and Kesha saw him and noticed it. She was like, "Oh my God, can I try that on?" And he was able to meet and talk to Kesha solely because he had, which is his current Facebook profile picture too. Even funnier, he was so inebriated that he barely remembered that had happened. But once again, like that kind of interest. What it does is it really propels augmented reality and wearable computing to a kind of like a normal state. Everyone's like, oh, no one's gonna walk down the street with that on their face. I'm like, have you seen Bluetooth headsets? They are not aesthetically pleasing. But a lot of people wear them because they're functional and they provide a certain value to the people that use them. The same with like everyone's walking around with headphones. I mean, that probably wouldn't seem normal to someone from like 20 or 30 years ago, constantly talking to yourself. And Google Glass sort of takes that to a different and often uncomfortable level. read men's restrooms and people wearing Google Glass. There's also the whole vocal recognition thing that we're going to have to fix.